Welcome to the DJ Insider Podcast, sponsored by Amplified Events.
It's the only podcast where we break down insider information from our weddings, experiences, and advice from over 15 years in the wedding industry.
We're your hosts. I'm Mike Kane, owner of Amplified Events.
And I'm Chris Zart, general manager of Amplified Events.
Let's get into it. Well, we're back. Yes. And today on the podcast, we have a special guest, Jeff Webb.
How's it going?
Good. Welcome. So Jeff is one of our DJs, and you had a wedding this weekend.
First wedding.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did it go? What was the highlights, lowlights, song of the night? Any memories, things learned from doing it?
It was fun. I definitely had I definitely had a couple interesting experiences. None that I was prepared for all of them. But I think that the one that was the most jarring for me was the maid of honor coming behind the booth to then go over the song list and then star the songs that she thought were the ones the bride would want, even though all of the songs were given by the bride directly. So I just kind of let that happen. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sure this happens all the time." And I was like, "Oh, there's always one. It's fine." And she I think she was a little I don't want to say embarrassed, but whatever that realm would be. But I still, it was like, "Oh no, have a good time. You just want to be the DJ. I understand. You're here with me. Come on, put on the headphones. Let's get some pictures."
Here we go. You're mixing this next one, right?
Yeah, this is you actually. I'm gonna go take a piss.
Yeah.
So that happened, and then at that point, I was like, "All right, fine. We're just gonna be Spotify for a while. This is what you want. We're gonna be Spotify for a while." But the couple was amazing. The ceremony went well. I think the most interesting part of the night was towards the end, like within the last 45 minutes of the dance floor, and the bride's like, "Do you know that song Sandstorm?" And I was like, "No, I've never heard of it. I've never heard of Sandstorm by Darude." She was like, "Could you play it?" And then just get out of it after about 2 minutes. Don't stay in it forever. And I was like, "All right, it's your show. Let's do it." So I put Sandstorm on, and then she was like, "Yeah, could you edit it out?" Or no, she's like, "Could you mix it out to this song?" And I don't remember what it was after about 2 minutes. So after about 2 minutes, I mixed it out to another song, and immediately every single person on the dance floor turned to the booth and just started loudly
Boo.
Night at the Apollo booing.
Yeah.
And I just started laughing hysterically because I think it's funny. Your boos mean nothing to me. But it was funny because once the song that I mixed into got going, they were like, "Oh, okay," and then started singing along and dancing to that song. Short memories on the dance floor.
Yes. Yeah, they'll forgive you as long as you play another good jam.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. That does happen a lot where a maid of honor, best man, somebody who's been given some important job, they take it very seriously. That's their job.
Yeah.
And then they kind of take it upon themselves to be almost like the security, the bouncer, the enforcer of the wedding. I've had maid of honors no, I'm also the coordinator, and I'm the florist, and I'm the usher, and I'm the officiant.
And I'm the narcissist.
Yes, and it's just okay, all right. Well, they hired me for a reason. I do this as my career, as my job. We do this for a living, and I met with them, and we went over all of the things that you're bringing up. We talked about, and they told me they trust me to handle it the best way I know how, or they told me specific instructions on what to do, what not to do. And you coming up, requesting these songs or doing this thing is just not in line with what they said they wanted.
Also, it's making my job more difficult.
Oh, yeah. They're literally distracting you from working.
Yeah.
It's literally pulling you off. People don't realize that's what they're doing when they come up and make requests. It's I'm trying to actively run a dance floor and mix music, and I'm trying to avoid those boos.
Right.
I'm trying to make sure that the songs are hitting and the general energy keeps moving. And it's hard to do that when I'm being distracted,
It's right now, right? Because I hear you. I have 30 seconds. Give me 1 second here, please. For the love of God.
I love it too because it always does seem it's not when you really need the help. When there's nobody dancing and you're like, "Please give me ideas. What will get you out there?" They will not come anywhere near that booth.
Or their garbage suggestions.
Yes, yeah. You want Paradise by the Dashboard Light, Meatloaf, please.
Can I get
the long
Jesse's
version.
Girl?
Yes, yeah.
Nobody's dancing and having a good time. Can I get Jesse's Girl?
Yeah.
For sure, bro. Let's
Yeah.
light up the dance floor with Rick Springfield.
But when you need them or when you need the suggestions, they're nowhere to be found.
No.
And when you got people dancing full floor, people are having fun, they're coming up. We need to get people out. Like there's people already out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's you just want to hear what you want to hear.
Yeah.
You know, essentially. So, but yeah, it sounds like it went pretty well.
Yeah.
So you also, before you kind of jumped on our team, you were running a comedy club and also a comedy production company.
Yeah, I ran the Market Lounge and Comedy Club for as its existence as the Market Lounge and Comedy Club. I ran it from day one. The lounge itself, so it was a cocktail bar before it was a comedy club. The lounge started about 3 months before I jumped on at the Market. So I jumped on in its infancy, but I did not give birth. I would say that Tyler Ingram gave birth to the lounge in its whole. Shout out to Tyler Ingram. I don't know. I love you to death. But yeah, no, that was a blast. Did that for almost 4 years. Still run Forgettable Productions. Still do shows. A lot of shows in Chicago.
And you're a stand-up comedian as well.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time now. I'm doing it a really long time. Got a headlining gig in Portage lined up in December. I'm doing a couple spots in Chicago in the next couple months. But the main goal has been trying to get a comedy club open in Elkhart. And that is exceptionally difficult for a trillion different reasons, and most of them are bureaucratic. Liquor licenses are expensive because rich people like to hoard those, like their treasures and their dragons that are sitting on their treasures. But yeah, no, it was great. I loved running that comedy club, doing those shows. You were involved a couple times that I've done stand-up, whether it be private events, shows, this, that, and the other thing. You've been in orbit as well, so it's been nice.
Yeah, and through that, you'd book some bigger acts, like some bigger names. Is there a few that come to mind that were some of your favorites that maybe people listening at home would know? Like, oh, that person, yeah.
Yeah, so I met a guy named Jason Teebs. He is a co-host on a podcast called Punch Drunk Sports with Ari Shafir, and there's another famous comic whose name that I should know is on that show. Have to look that up at some point.
Sure, sorry.
Sam Tripoli. It's Sam Tripoli.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Ari Shafir and Sam Tripoli.
Nice.
So my friend Teebs is on a podcast with those dudes, and I met him. He's originally from Michigan City.
Wow.
And COVID happened, and his mom lived in South Bend, and so I was introduced to him from a friend named Billy Dodaro. We became good friends, Jason and I, and obviously being in that orbit, he's LA guy, he's a Comedy Store guy. So I had the opportunity to meet a lot of really cool people. The first one that I'd say that was the first big name that we booked was Steve Ranazizi, the guy that was on The League.
Yes, the lawyer, the husband guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's also there's a couple other things that he is memorable for off screen. You'll never forget that. And the joke there is that he lied about being near the Twin Towers on 9/11. That's the thing that he's famous for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, yeah, it's hilarious. And he was the nicest guy in the world, for the record. Like, so Steve Ranazizi, just nicest guy. Hilarious first big name comic to have at the lounge or at the Market too. Mm-hmm. Like, he was the consummate professional. Hilarious. Set was tight. It was 45 minutes. The whole, it was like 300 people there that night, rolling. Everybody was rolling. And I like The League. And did you watch the show?
Yeah, I've seen every episode.
Yeah, there's the joke about rolling up pubes and smoking them in a joint.
Yeah.
And I walked up to him at the end of the night, and I didn't make any The League references whatsoever to him because I was like, oh, you get this all the time. But it's funny, I walked up to him at the end of the night, and I was like, hey, man, I got to ask. And you could tell that, like, his demeanor changed to, here I go, answer another 9/11 question. But I was like, you think I could get a couple of those pubes for this joint over here? And laughed his ass off. He was like, oh, thank God. He was cool. After that, we had Jeff Richards, guy that was on Mad TV and SNL. Very funny guy, good guy. Still talk to him. With Marilyn Rice-Grub, Mr. Show, 24.
Yeah.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Gail the Snail.
Gail the Snail, baby. Don't throw salt at her. We had to literally tell people at the beginning.
Please do not.
We saw you bring in your salt shakers. I respect it.
Oh, my
Please
gosh.
don't do it. Jamie Kennedy, he had that the punk knockoff.
Yes, X Factor or something like that.
Yeah, he doesn't matter. I'm just kidding. He's fine. He's a fine guy. Jamie Kennedy Experience, Scream movies, and then the last one, which you were involved in and helped tremendously, just considering all the circumstances, was Chris Kattan.
Oh yeah, that was a really fun one. That was it January, February, something like that?
That was back in January. It was supposed to be in December of last year, but he actually had pneumonia and then ended up going septic.
Oh my goodness.
And we had to postpone the show. We couldn't do it at the market because at that point the market was shut down. So we had to do it at the County Line Orchard in Hobart. I called you in a panic. And I was like, "Hey, I'm drowning. I don't know what to do." And you just took care of everything because you are notoriously generous and capable. So cheers to you again for that.
I mean, it was such an honor to be a part of it. It was really cool. And, you know, I was a kid growing up watching SNL. That was such a great cast, the seasons he was on.
Mr. Peepers, dude.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
It was of
Mango,
all of
you know?
the mango. Like, of all of the people that I had, he was definitely the most starstruck that I got, just because that era, right? Like,
Yeah.
you're on SNL with people like Sherry O'Terry, Will Ferrell,
So
Tim
wild.
Meadows, just Tina Fey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the golden eras of that
Amy
show.
Poehler, Jimmy Fallon. I mean, there's just so many people from that.
Right. That era was S tier for sure. And
Tracy Morgan, yeah.
the weirdest part, like, it's doing this thing was, picking these people up from airports or wherever they're from, and then driving with them. It's kind of like, oh, I'm picking up so-and-so from the airport. Well, I just got an 1.5 hour long personal podcast with this person. And I was lucky enough to go down to Springfield, Illinois, and pick Chris Kattan up. And that was a 3-hour drive one way. So I got 6 hours round trip to just, pick his brain. And he was everything that I wanted him to be. The best part for me personally was, like, occasionally I would just look over and, like, Night at the Roxbury, Chris Kattan was also the passenger in Night at the Roxbury. I'm like, I'm playing Will Ferrell right now. That's what I'm doing.
He had such a great joke too about like how people are always making him do it's like at the pharmacy. I loved it so much. He was such a good set.
Oh, man, yeah. Consummate
Really nice
professional.
guy, like super easy to talk to and really friendly. And it was a great show. It was a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll do more of those in the future. Love to be a part of it.
Yeah, for sure. That's the goal down the line. We're, like I said, still focusing right now. My main priority is getting the club in Elkhart opened. My main role there will be booking and occasional shows. I'm not going to say if, but
Yeah.
we're knocking on wood. It's a difficult prospect to open a business of that scale.
But it's cool that show kind of got us started talking about maybe jumping on our team, and that kind of developed through that process. And you've kind of been jumped on our team this summer and been rocking it for us ever since. So we're excited to have you. And, doing shows together and seeing also you do comedy, I'm like, there's a lot of parallels between being a stand-up comedian and being a DJ. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of dive into some of those things that we find. What are the similarities? What are the differences that you see between those two?
So the big one, I think the biggest difference, because I think you're right. I think there are more similarities than there are differences, honestly. Because you're right. You're reading a room. You have to know how to read a crowd. You have to know how a room is reacting to whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to project confidence as well. Like, you're on the mic. You might not be on the mic, as much as, especially in, like, what we do. We're not.
Sure. We're not
on the
talking
mic.
constantly, and we're not doing a set,
It's not a club. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We're not just like, oh, yeah, But you still have to be confident on the mic. You still have to project that you are the authority on what you're doing. And the biggest difference, though, I've found is that when you are on stage and when you're doing a show as a comic, they are afraid of you most of the time. When you are a DJ, they are not afraid of you at all. Like,
No,
at
you
all.
work for them.
Yes,
Yeah, and you're
yes.
messing this up for me.
Yeah.
Even though it's not their wedding.
No, you didn't
Yeah.
play David Allen Coe when everybody was dancing and
Yes.
twerking. You are an idiot.
I want to hear something really racist music-wise while I'm dancing at a wedding.
Absolutely, 100%.
That's the kind of requests you get, and I'm like, you have no idea. The songs that this guy makes, and there's other songs that are just like, this is totally inappropriate for
We're
weddings.
at an
Some of this stuff.
interracial wedding. What are you doing? I'm not playing David Allen Coe. Stop it.
Yeah, there's so much of that stuff, and people want to make it about them.
Oh,
It reminds me
my
of
God.
kind of how hecklers can be, but it's not the same.
It's very similar, though.
Yeah,
It's similar.
It's
though,
just
'cause
the
you're-
ego of like, no, this guy's doing a performance. I'm going to interrupt that performance to give them what I think, or I think this would be funny, or
It just comes down to they want to be involved.
Me,
They want it to be about them
attention, me,
Yes.
me. Yeah,
entirely. It's the same way.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely run in the room. People kind of looking to you as an authority. And then rolling with the resistance of drunk people
Yeah.
and being, kind. And then eventually you have to set that boundary because it's just like, no, come on. Like,
Yeah.
because if they're going to keep interrupting the show, they're going to keep interrupting your set. Like, it's not going to work. You can't throw a great party. Just like it's going to ruin the set. It's ruining it for everybody.
I almost feel like in a way too that they're it's almost like children,
Yes.
right? It's and because I noticed that like there's a guy that requested a song, and it was a song that I knew wasn't going to work at that point in time, and you can very easily read those situations,
Yeah.
so long as you're able to have eyes and ears. Like,
Yeah, right. And you met with the couple. You kind of get a good idea what they
Right.
want.
And this particular bride wanted just like, I want to twerk for 3 hours straight. And it's
Yeah.
like, I understand. I understand. You just want gas pedal on repeat. Let's
That's
do
it.
that. That's
That's it.
fine. But it's like, you had this guy that come up and he'd request the song that just had no bearings. Like there was no reason for me to play that song at that point. Did it like 2 times. Did it once to me, once to an assistant, Cade. Shout out to Cade. You're the best. And then finally, we didn't play it after 5 minutes. So he went, found the groom, brought the groom up, and then made the groom by proxy request the song. So of
Yes.
course, it's like, man,
Like a
This-
puppet. Like he's
Right.
like, come up here. You tell him what I told you.
like
You
let
know.
him drink, let him
Yeah.
have a good time. He paid like 5 figures for this wedding.
And then the
Let
groom's
it-
like, can you play the song? Is it
and I'm like,
okay?
sure, if that's what you want. Is this what you want?
Oh, I hate when they do that. I hate when they involve the couple and just pull the couple away from having fun, from doing.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're doing 6,000 other things right now. This is a political event for them. They need to be doing political things.
Yes, talking, hanging out. Also, they should be enjoying it. And,
Right.
if they're having to man requests because, somebody can't handle their song not being played,
Right.
like a child.
Like a child. Like that's it. And,
You didn't play
also
my
it's not-
song.
you didn't play it absolutely next too.
Now you're in trouble because I got the groom here, and the groom's gonna make you play this song, guy.
Yeah.
We're like, fine, okay, I'll play it. Like,
I even then I was like, yeah, it's on the list. And he's like, all right, cool.
next, you playing it next?
It's on the list. It's on the list is my favorite go-to. It's like, yeah, it's on the list right here.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah, yeah.
I had 2 weddings. We did the one on Friday together. That one was a 10. That was a rager. It was a good floor, cool couple, chill day, except rainy, but everything sound-wise was great. Speeches went a little long, but everything else was pretty
These went really long.
good dance floor. And then, Saturday I was alone, but it was a beautiful venue up in Illinois, Montebello Estate in Lamont. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was pretty fun. And great floor all night there, too. The couple was super cool. The groom kept hugging me. He's like, sorry, man. He's like, you just have such a positive vibe. I was like, I'm just in a good mood. I was like, I'm in a good mood, too. And you got married, man. This is all right,
Yeah.
And he's like, you're killing it. And I was like, you're killing it, so.
So he's having a good time. I mean, that's all that matters. Like, I really don't care. I mean, I obviously care how the guests feel, but like, man, if the bride and groom are just dancing and having even if it's just them, like, you know
Yeah.
what? You paid me. I'm here for you. I want everybody else to have a good time. So long as you're having a fantastic time, I don't really care.
And they had a similar thing where I think this woman came up, she's older, and she's like, pointed to this other younger woman and was like, do you have any conga? Can you do some conga? And I go, we want to do a conga line. Do you have a song for that? I go, how about the song Conga? By
Gloria Estefan?
Yes, Estefan. And I was like, okay, let me. I wrote it down, and then someone else came up and requested it, and then I went up to the groom. I was like, hey, so somebody's requested a conga line. He's like, yeah, that's my cousin. And I was like, do you want us to do that? He's like, well, what do you think? I was like, well, it doesn't really fit, but if you are okay with it, like we can do it. He's like, yeah, I love my cousin. Let's do it. So we did it next, and it worked great. And then he started doing the conga line, and he was leading it, and he was going real slow, and it was so funny. He just kept going in a circle around the dance floor, and it had this super long dance floor. And I went up to him, I go, dude, go back into the bar, go through the tables, like make it fun, like a snake, And then he's like, you thought of everything. So he goes to the back there, and then when they're back there, they stayed back there a really long time, and the song ended. So I just mixed in something else, and I was just like, okay. But to me, it was just a good example of like, he was like, he just wanted to keep people happy, keep people having fun, and it was one song, but it could have. It went well, but I think it could have gone badly. But this is always tough when people are like, "We want to do our thing," and I just feel like it's not your day.
Yeah.
You have other days, there's other times you could do that anytime, but that one went well. But
Also, you can find a way to have fun.
that's the thing.
Like, it doesn't have to be exactly your thing for you to have fun. Just enjoy what is happening that they've requested for their day. If you get married, let's have 64 conga lines, bro.
Yes.
Do it. We'll do, the entire venue will be set up and ready for conga lines. Like, we'll have arrows on the floor for you. But just kind of go, like, let's have fun. It's not your day today.
And yeah, it's like, can you just find another way? Or
Yeah.
is there other songs? Like, can you just dance to what's going on?
Yeah.
It's almost never, nobody's out there. There's usually a pretty good floor. People are dancing, having fun, and they're coming up to interrupt with their thing rather than just like, why don't you just go enjoy? Just go have fun.
Yeah.
If really that's the song that's going to make your night, you can't have fun if you don't do that. It's so infuriating because it's one song usually.
Yeah.
The worst though is then they get it like a taste for it, and then they give you 5, 6, 7, 8, and then they're getting mad when you're not playing them. And I'm like, you're not running this.
Yeah.
Like, but sometimes, and this is what's really fun. Sometimes people actually they have a really good intuitive sense for this. And I always joke that did they want to come work for me, because they are mixing in the song that I was thinking to mix in, in their brain, they're coming up and requesting the song as I'm mixing it in. Like more than once I've had people do that throughout the night. They're like, oh, dude, how about this one next? And I'm like, I'm literally mixing it in and I'm dropping it as they're coming up, Yeah. And I was like, dude, get out of my head. This is really good. You have good sense for this. Like you're reading the vibe of the room the same way I am, that if they like this, they're going to like this
Right.
kind of thing. Is there anything like that in comedy where, because it seems to me as some of the work, and I'm not a comedian, but some of the work is you're writing a joke and then you're perfecting it. You're doing little timing changes, little adjustments, and you figure out how to make it work. And then like, certain crowds, it's still not going to, just, you have to kind of adjust. I don't know if I'm making sense here.
No, yeah. I mean, like, the people that are much better than me that I'm friends with, they will. There's a guy in particular that comes to mind. His name's Alan Ford. He's a Chicago guy. He's a zany's guy. Like, he's one of the funniest human beings I have ever met in my life. And he is situationally funny. He is funny off the cusp. He is just in every way a hilarious human being. But he has material, and he will go on stage, and if you watch 3 to 5 minutes of his material on any given bit, he has been working on that bit. If on average, I'd say he's been working on that bit for at least 3 months. Like, the guy is going, and I'm talking like multiple times a week, performing this at open mics. He's going to open mics all over the city. He's doing open mics where he works. He's, doing guest spots at shows that'll let him on to perfect his material. Like, he wants to be able to replicate a perfectly honed bit every single time. I don't remember exactly what your question was.
No, that's
but
fine.
I think I answered it.
Yeah. Well, it's that is also another similarity where, comedians, they have their jokes and they're going to be repeating those jokes, hundreds of times.
Yeah, ad nauseum.
And they have to still find a way to make it animated, interesting, and funny to the crowd.
And not only that, but to them.
To them as well.
Because I could tell you, like, man, I did a show in April, and like at the end of it, there was a bit that I hadn't done in years. It was a bit about shitting my pants at Tomato Bar. I did, by the way, and I don't remember if it's the same. I don't remember if the booth is there after their remodel, but I remember exactly the booth. I was having the Philly calzone, just jotting that down just for future posterity's sake. But I hadn't done that joke in years, and there was just this random dude that was there in the crowd, and I was towards the end of the night, and I was like, "Oh man, just want to thank you so much." I'm annihilated on stage. Like, if I ever get that video, which I was promised months ago,
just sloppy.
Oh, it was, but it was like, it was a good sloppy. It was like, I haven't seen it, so I'm hoping it was a good sloppy. I felt like Dean Martin, but I probably did not look like Dean Martin. But I was towards the end of the set. The only reason that I got off after an hour and 20 minutes was because I had to go to the bathroom. But this guy, as I'm getting ready to get off, he's like, "Do the bit about shitting your pants."
Oh
I'm
man.
like, "Oh my god, I haven't done that in years." Okay, but it was like I haven't done that in years because it's not fun.
You got tired of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
burned it
like-
out. It's done,
But like Bruce Springsteen brought back Thunder Road.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So if he brought back Thunder Road, I can talk about shitting my pants at Tomato Bar.
He's the boss.
He is the boss.
We and it's similar with DJs. We're playing a lot of the same songs every weekend, and you're mixing a lot of the same ones together too because they're a similar beat per minute and a similar key, and you just know those songs go well together.
Starships into California Girls.
Yes,
baby.
and you can get it really tight to where it is so seamless. You look so much better than you are because you do this mix all the time, and so it looks awesome. It sounds awesome. The crowd's loving it. And it becomes kind of like jokes where it's like, okay, yeah, this is fun, but, I've done this before.
Yeah.
And you have to keep it fresh because this is their first wedding with you. You got to find a way to make it still deliver it in a way that's exciting, that's interesting, that keeps that energy moving.
Somehow you have to pretend like this is the first time you've heard Low by Flo Rida.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And the crowd is they're going to love this. And so that's what I changed earlier on in my career, I was so focused on the mixing aspect because I wanted that to be tight and seamless. And then now, and it's the same, I guess similar with material, you're working it. And if you're doing a lot of clubs every weekend, you're eventually it gets really tight and it's just really good. Your timing is just a natural rhythm with the crowd.
Right.
You do that bit and then they laugh and a little pause and then you do another little bit and then you call back joke to this. And
it really is like singing a song.
Yes, and mixing it all in. And so at end of the season, everything is just so tight. I have a lot more tens of weddings towards the end of the season because my mixing's tight. I know this season what music is hitting and what not with this aged crowd.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, they're going to love this one. And that's my favorite is reading between the lines that, okay, they liked this, they love this. That means they're going to definitely love this one. And it's best when it's not on the couple's request list.
Right. And something they'd not even considered.
Yes. And it takes them to another level because then the crowd wasn't expecting it. The couple wasn't expecting it, but they're like, oh, this song. Yeah.
What is your just nuclear solution? Like, you're like, I don't know what to do. Like, I got to drop this song and make it happen.
There's a couple like that. That's a good question. Nuclear solution. That's just
it's dead. I have to revive it. This song will do it.
Honestly, what I generally do is I will cut it. Like I will slow it
Cut
down.
it hard.
Come out hard. No, I slow it down. It's actually counterintuitive. I reset the energy and then I rebuild it based on that. Because
that's smart. So you go slow song, slow dance. Maybe people.
Yeah,
come
well, maybe
slow
one.
dance.
And if there's a big response, I'll do 2 slow songs, and then I will either kick it into like a line dance or something. If that's what the couple is accepting of, and the crowd is feeling that, then that gets people dancing again and moving, even though it is rhythmic and everyone's doing a set routine.
I think that is a pattern that I've noticed for me because I know that I absolutely was like, all right, well, dance floor dies. I'm playing a slow song, slow dance, and then I'm just going immediately into a line dance.
Yes, because you're getting everybody then, and then everybody's like, oh yeah, we're still dancing, we're still having fun, and everyone usually has positive memories with slow songs and with and so then that gets them back in the mood to dance again.
You another fun thing that you. We were talking about just things that you want to make sure, just like everything being in writing, like having an example for everything.
Yeah.
Like the one that I did was like there were 3 no plays. It was Macarena, Cotton Eye Joe, and the Electric Slide.
Yes.
So it's like, all right, she doesn't like those 3 line dances. That's fine. I, died a little bit, did a slow song, did Cupid Shuffle. Immediately, Bride walks up to the booth. She's like, this is on my no playlist. I was like, oh.
I have it right here.
No, it is not, actually.
Yeah, I have it right here, yeah.
She's like, shit. Okay, well.
Do you want me to cut it? Yeah.
But
no problem.
Yeah, having that just like, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's nice every time.
They forget what they told you.
Yeah.
But I always tell them, like in the meeting, if I play something that you're like, oh, I should have told you, just tell me. I'll cut out of it.
Yeah.
But I have that no playlist that they gave me so that, because they're the first to be like, no, I didn't want, I'm like, well, you didn't write it down,
I can't read minds.
right? But it's so weird that if they don't remember, they're gonna burn you for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is, again, really good to have that insurance policy.
Yeah, because then it becomes that it humbles them, but they're like, oh yeah, well I don't like this. Can you cut out of it? Oh, of course. It changes the conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, you are on it. You are doing what I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even if they say I don't want any line dances, I write no line dances.
Right.
Yeah. And then I also use that for when guests come and the guests are like, have a line dance. And I go, see, the couple, they said no line dances and it's their wedding. So I'm sorry. You know,
Yeah.
Is there something else you'd like, you know?
I was that was one that I immediately, she was like, ah, shit. All right. Well, yeah, you know, if you want to just don't play it for the whole time, that'd be great. I was like,
Sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There's always a way to deal with that, but.
And then I dropped my nuclear solution, which is always buy you a drink.
Oh, that's right. You're a T-Pain guy.
Right? Buy you a drink works every time. I'm sorry. Like you could have just informed the entire dance floor that their family members they're perished. They're gone now.
Yeah.
But then you just immediately drop.
Can I take you home with me?
They're like, oh man, we're gonna be sappy. We're gonna be really sad in like 5 minutes. We're gonna be just despondent in 5 minutes.
There are songs like that that really do kind of change the mood in a big way. I feel like, yeah, Flow Rider's Low is one of those. Mm-hmm. People are like, oh, the apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur.
That's the stereotype song that every time I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
There you go. You get this song that we've all heard 64,000 times.
Yeah. There's certain ones. It depends, you know.
What's one that a lot of DJs play that you're like, I'm not doing that?
A lot of DJs play. I mean, I don't like Bad Bunny. I think a lot of people love that guy. I'm not a big fan. I think that's a good question. I don't know. It really depends. I'll play anything, but I don't like everything.
Yeah.
I mean, Cotton Eye Joe and people request it, I'm like, but I'll play it. Definitely, Meatloaf. What's that Time Warp song?
Oh, God.
Any of the big rock opera, like.
Is that from not Rocky Horror Picture?
It is. Yeah,
is it from Rocky Horror
Rocky
Picture?
Horror, I think. Yeah.
It's either that or the other one with Rick Moranis.
Oh, that's the Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One of those are for some reason I always get those two confused for whatever reason.
But it's different if it's like I mean, we have weddings where they're like theater kids and they love musicals and we do a lot of that stuff and that's fine. And I like to do that. I like to whatever the crowd is going to respond to is what I'm doing. And I imagine it's similar with comedians. If they're laughing at this, I got to do it. You know, like I think some comedians they don't do impressions because they're not good at them. They don't like them.
Yeah,
they think it's a lower form of comedy. You know,
I have a lot of friends that do impressions. I have a couple friends that do them well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some people find it cheesy.
Yes, and some people are super like animated, and they're like a lot of physical stuff in their comedy.
Yeah,
and like a lot of crowd work, and some people are just deadpan, just delivery. You know, and some people do a setup and punchline. Yeah. Some are just tell a story. You know, so it's just
some people, and it gets exhausting. And I think that's another thing. That's another parallel that you could discuss is just how similar certain like that stylistically, like there for me when it comes to comedy, like the people that are just like, all right, joke. Yeah. Oh my God, we've been doing this for 15 minutes. Come on, dude, give me some color in here. That's just you're just punching me repeatedly. There's got to be some color. You gotta paint a picture for me. I can't do that. Just like I one-liner dudes. I had a dude headline the lounge that just did 35 minutes of one-liners. And after 15 minutes, everybody was just exhausted. Everybody was like, So it's like, what do you got to spice it up a little bit. I can't just do club bangers for 2 hours straight, man.
Yeah, you burn them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something I do too. I try to do, 5, 6, 7 bangers and then, okay, let's take a break. Mm-hmm. Let's reset different style of music and then come back to that or go to something else. Move to hip hop or whatever. But yeah, you can tell when, at least I can, I feel like, when the comedian's heart's in it.
Yeah.
And when I'm like, all right, I'm tired, yes. Paycheck. And I think people can tell the same thing with DJs. Whereas, like, if you're sitting down and you're like, play, all right, play the next song, versus if the guy's like actively trying to mix and he's reading the dance floor and he's dancing, having a good time, singing along, doing this. I always do like, shove my fists in the air or like, I'll do like, yeah, or I'll like mime out to what, pantomime what the song's doing.
Oh, I was dabbing a lot.
Yeah, there
I
you
was
go.
doing a lot of extremely animated dabbing on the floor.
But people see the DJ. Oh, the DJ's having fun. That makes it okay for me to have fun too.
Yeah.
Oh, he's enjoying this. Why not? Why can't I have fun?
Yeah.
A lot of that's just creating that atmosphere, and that's really what comedians do too. They create an atmosphere where it's like, we came to have a good time, we came to laugh, we came to have fun, and sometimes you're gonna say something that's offensive. Sometimes you play an offensive song, and you try your best because weddings is tough because there can be kids there.
Man, and there really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You say that, like, hire a babysitter,
Yeah.
please. Like, I'm sure I'm getting married next year. I'm getting married in August. I'm very excited. It's going to be a great time. None of my favorite little children will be there that night. None of them at all. Like, the sprinting around the dance floor, immediate party killer.
Yeah.
I can't do it. You have kids, and I'm sure, I know that you just adore your kids, but I'm sure there has to be a part of you that agrees, like, oh my God, please just stop running the children all over the dance floor.
I really don't think weddings are a good place for kids. I don't think they're very fun for kids. They're not designed for kids.
Oh, you mean places where
And
most people are drinking nonstop?
Yes, and they make adults who have those kids not have fun because
Yes.
you're focused on those kids. To me, it's like have an adult fun night out.
That's what they should be.
So, but I don't know. It's a big controversial subject in the wedding industry.
Is it really?
Yeah, some people no kids, some people are like absolutely kids, and there's families that fight over that. And
Oh yeah, that is.
what do you mean my
yeah.
kids aren't invited? And all, it's just a crazy.
Got to do a fight with my mother about my teenage cousins. It's like they can come for dinner, but they got to leave. Like, they need to leave. Like, I'll pay for their meals, and then they are out.
Then I'll pay for their Ubers.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
They've got homework.
Yeah,
so.
they've got. Even if they have, that's the middle of summer. You know what? I'll give them a worksheet. Just go home.
I'll give them home. I'll have a teacher assign it. So.
Done. Well, I'll give you tutoring for 2 weeks straight.
That's it.
Not doing it.
Yeah, so you're kind of planning the wedding right now. Have you run into anything that you're like, oh, like since working for us, that's changed your perspective on as you're planning this out? Like, we're definitely doing this, we're not doing this. What, or even like, what tropes are you trying to avoid at your wedding?
Dude, it's hard because I worked, the lounge was a part of the larger market, which was the wedding venue. I call businesses like the market and several others around the area, I call them wedding factories. The market was a wedding factory. And it's like, there are parts of me that's just, man, I know how much this costs. I know what you're doing to me right now, but you're gonna use that 95% profit margin on me right now for this shrimp cocktail. So, there are a couple things that are, excuse me, there are a couple things that are just like, I feel superfluous and just I don't want to say cash grabs, but there are a couple things that I just won't do.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is a lot of people do like a popcorn bar, a candy bar,
Sure.
things like that, or like they do adorable little. I've seen like
We're doing s'mores outside tonight.
Yeah, like little or like
Can you announce the s'mores?
little. Yeah, can you make an announcement?
We're on the dance floor.
Can you make 6 announcements in a row, please? There's like little adorable little tuxedo pretzel sticks.
Yeah.
It's like they're all cute and they're all awesome. Don't get me wrong. I think that they're all wonderful. I don't care about them. Like you going to a wedding,
Sure.
most wedding guests don't give a shit about whatever the favors are.
Sure.
How many koozies do you have?
I have hundreds.
You have hundreds of koozies.
I love them.
They're great. Don't get me wrong. I love the koozies.
But I'm
it's
not.
like-
I could do without them.
I could do without them. We don't
Yeah.
need the koozies or the pretzels or the favors, so we're not going to do that. My mentality is, look, there is going to be an open bar. There's going to be an amazing dance floor with one of my favorite DJs of all time running that shit. There is going to be a photo booth. We're going to have a great time. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a fantastic time. But things that I've noticed that are most difficult, it has nothing to do with vendors because we're having our wedding in Avalon, and they've been just the most wonderful. We're working with somebody named Jamie who's there. She's wonderful. They are just so professional. They've been so helpful with everything that we're doing. And then, of course, we're using Amplified Events for all services related to DJ and DJ expertise. But none of those, I mean, you are obviously an extremely thoughtful and proactive vendor. The vendors that we're working with for every other thing, have been extremely thoughtful and proactive. The family.
Mm.
The family.
The politics of planning a wedding.
The politics of planning a wedding is something that a UN ambassador would not be equipped for. Oh, my God. And my mother's Greek. So there are several Greek things that we have to do at the wedding.
It's tradition.
It's tradition, so you got to do this. It's like, all right, well, that's fine. Throw things at me. You can spit on me. That's the thing that Greek people do. That's for good luck. Just like they fake spit on you. So there's just gonna be Greek people spitting on us as we walk down the aisle. It's gonna be wild, wild and weird.
So, I mean, we always say the advice we give is like come up with a list of 3, 4, 5, just a few things that are your top priorities. For you, what would those be for your wedding? What were your top priorities?
My top priorities? Oh, man. I really love, I mean, we've spent enough time together to know that I love food. So I need the food to be good.
Mm.
I also would love it to not be stereotypical wedding food. So we've talked about that. She's been pretty open about, I really like barbecue. So we might do some brisket, something like that.
Nice.
It's going to be nice. So food, the dance floor, and then the overall aesthetics. I think if I had to pick just 3 off the top of my head, because, that is one thing. And I feel like the venue is you're not left with a lot of wiggle room in terms of how you want your aesthetic to look.
Sure.
But
There's going to be the carpet and the walls are going to be similar.
exactly.
You could put up pipe and drape, but that's going to cost. There's some things you can do, but
Yeah. But I mean, like, honestly, and that's one thing that I've learned doing these weddings is like, man, uplighting does 30 to 40% of the work.
yeah.
In any space. It changes something entirely. So it's like that, and we're doing a balloon display and a couple things like that that are
Nice.
going to add to the aesthetics of it, because we have a very vibrant, loud color palette.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like red, pink, yellow, like that very like sunset color palette. It's going to be very vibrant, which is right up my alley. And so I think that would be like aesthetics and the overall dance floor, and then the food. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, to me, that's the things you can't compromise on then. You got to really
No, and
put your foot down.
God bless the fiance, man. She's just like she's going for it. She's going for it. So we're gonna have a good time. I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, I'm jealous that I can't personally be there. I'm working another one, but yeah, we'll see.
I'm also sad that you can't be there, but we will absolutely take pictures and videos to make you
Please,
jealous all night.
please do.
Yeah.
Send me the snaps.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Anything that you wish, or maybe good advice for people, looking to hire a DJ or, plan a wedding, advice, things you've learned that you can pass on educationally for others that,
Man, so I found something really, really early on from the planning perspective. We had a food tasting at this place called City Barbecue in Mishawaka, because we were originally going to have our wedding in southern Michigan. And that was one of the places that catering was pretty affordable, but also delicious. And everything that they had was just really good. I brought my mother, and she brought her sister. And they are very beautiful, wonderful, headstrong women. And it wasn't like an argument. There wasn't a tiff or anything like that. But it was, there was like conversation overlapping. And then at one point, the person who was responsible for the tasting was just like, and you know what? It's your wedding, to my fiance and I. Just like that quick, like, you know what? At the end of the day, it's your wedding. Just completely ignore the other people, and that kind of shut them up a little bit. So I guess that was a nice reminder early on, because I had always had the mentality, and I'm sure you had to struggle with this as well when you were planning your wedding and getting married. I was not ready for the amount of people that want to make your day part theirs.
yeah. Yeah.
Like I get it, and I want everybody to feel involved and a part of everything. But at the end of the day, it is your day. Your family will either respect your decisions or they won't. And that is another problem for you to deal with entirely, that has less to do with your wedding and more to do with your relationships and your family.
Yeah.
But I think that's the big one, is just remember that it is your day, and that if ordering the airline chicken breast over the shredded chicken is going to piss off your mom, that's one thing it's worth pissing off your mom for. I think you just get the airline chicken breast if that's what you're here for.
This wedding was a disaster.
Yeah.
They had the airline instead of the shred.
Exactly like that. But honestly,
it's gonna be the one song that ruins the night. Yeah, really.
But unironically, if you're hiring a DJ, and I think that's something that you're on that step now.
Just the only thing I really cared about.
The only thing I cared about was hearing "Jungle Love" by Morris Day and the Time, and you didn't do that.
One.
No, I think honestly, what we do is almost an imperative. I think that, having that conversation and really trying to get to know a little bit, like you want to try and have at least a foundational personal relationship with the DJ that you're hiring.
Yeah.
And having a conversation, having a meeting up for a drink, whatever it is. Like, I know it's, some people say, oh, it's a waste of time or whatever. No, it's not. Like, you want to get to know this person so you know what they're about, what's their energy about, what is their, you can ask them, what their song choices are. But let's be honest, they're all the songs that you're going to play at a wedding are going to be in the same hemisphere at least.
Yeah.
But you can understand the energy. And so long as you're able to match energy, or at least have your DJ understand your level of energy and what you're expecting, that's a baseline. Everything else, that can be finagled, but you got to match the energy and you got to match that. You have to figure out what you're going into. If you're a DJ, inversely, understand the lion's den that you're going into. Understand what you are reading from that couple before you even step into the venue.
Yeah.
So I think those two things on both sides of the mirror there are important. Like you really gotta figure that out.
I see what you're talking about. It's a really important point that I think a lot of people forget, that family can cause a lot of stress when planning the wedding, and that stress can obviously show up the day of the wedding. And I get it. There's a lot riding on this. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of details, and there's a lot of opinions about how it should go or how they think it should go, because everyone has a vision of what this day is going to be like.
Right.
And if those visions don't align, there's going to be stress and there's going to be conflict. And what is tough for me as a vendor is when I see the families bulldoze the couple to get what they want.
Right.
And I try to remember that and try to be supportive to the couple and encouraging. Like I asked, do you want the conga line?
Right.
Is that well, I want to make my cousin happy. Is that what you really want? I'll do it. If it's what you want, if not, we'll just keep dancing.
Right.
I'll be the bad guy who didn't play the conga, and you get to be the good cousin still. And he's like, no, let's do it. And then he led the conga line, so it worked out great.
Right.
But then, I try to remember that as a vendor, that we can do this too. Vendors are guilty of this, I think, where they can bulldoze the client.
Right.
They don't listen to the client, and the way I see other vendors, we really try not to do this. We really try to listen to what the clients want and help them purchase, rather than, oh, there's an add-on for this. You can purchase these chandeliers. Right. You can add this, and there's vendors that do that. And I don't want to put any of their names out there, but that's not the way to make a sale, to nickel and dime people. Yeah, we'll cut your cake, but we're going to charge you per slice of the knife.
Yeah.
We're going to charge you per fork. Everybody has their own way of making money, so I don't want to down on that, but I think there's a way to do that takes into account the needs of this person, and that, do you really care, or are they a number? And DJs do this also with music selection. I'm going to do what I want. I'm not going to play what you want.
Right.
And I really try to be a company and a DJ that tries to prioritize what the couple wants, and tries to have the conversation with the couple that, what if what you want is not working with the party? Do you care more about the party, or do you care about what you want? Because I will do what you want, even if it means people go home early and they're not dancing.
So that's what I feel like is a thin line too. And that's like, because I 60 to 70% agree with you, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hard knowing, all right, I know what you want. I see what you want. I have a list of what you want. What you want is stupid.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
What you want is very dumb.
Yes.
I'm smarter than you in this realm.
That's right. I'm going to bulldoze you. It's your wedding. You're paying, but I'm going to do what I want instead. Yeah.
But like, there's a part that's like, I know better than you.
Sure.
You're effing up right now.
That's right.
I want to bulldoze you because I want to save your party from yourself.
Yeah, that's what I call it's not going to go the way you think.
Yes.
But yeah,
I have
try
heard
to
you
do
say
that.
that before. I have heard you say that
I
before.
try to have that be tactful and be an
Yes.
education piece. But I always say everyone has the right to have a bad wedding.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I have
They're
absolutely
paying
heard you
for
say
it.
that's
If
not
they
gonna go
want
the
a
way you
bad
want it
wedding
to.
and they insist, I'm going to give them what they want. Generally, you want it to be a great party and great memories. And you know, I'm trying to more and more brand myself and educate couples even before they book with us on that. If you're looking for this kind of experience, this is us. What's not us is going to be doing that, you know?
Right.
And so, yeah, some couples get real intense about the playlist and they give you the exact playlist in order. And I'm like, is that really important to you? Because that's going to be tough. Because
just
what
want
if
me to be
something's not
Spotify.
working? And, you know, it doesn't sound like you want a DJ or definitely don't want a DJ like us.
Yeah.
You know, there's DJs out here who can do exactly what you're wanting and they'll probably charge less.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's always that piece where part of what my ideal customer is hiring me for is my expertise in knowing how to make it a great party. Generally, I've done this enough where I know we can turn this up. Or like I've done everything I can and this crowd is still refusing to dance. It's not me.
Yeah.
There's a factor here that is out of my control that is not getting these people to dance. And maybe that's because it's a Sunday night and they got to work tomorrow.
It could be one of 1,000 things.
Sure. The weather, the layout, so many
Yeah,
things.
the venue itself might not be conducive to dancing.
Yeah. There's so many factors, but generally, yeah, I've done it enough where I know it's me and it's not me.
Right.
And sometimes, yeah, your hands are tied given the factors of the venue or the music the couple said you can play or can't play. And, you know, the types of people who want to dance versus don't. You know, there's just people that are never going to be your customer. There's just people who I've gone to weddings and I've not danced at all because I was in the mood to dance.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's one of those things. But I do try to, because it is such an important day and I do take it seriously, that I don't want to be the guy that bulldozes. I want to be the guy that listens and tries to offer advice and education and tries to split the difference to where it's like, I want to prioritize what you want and people dancing, and can I do both?
Right.
But I find talking about that ahead of time makes for a better day because then they trust me and then they let me do my thing. But it's tough when people are like, oh, they just start by saying, we trust you, do what you want. And I go, but do you?
Yeah.
You know, we don't really care. We don't really like me. I'm like, you're gonna, if I play something you don't like, not this, you know.
Right.
I prefer to have people give me some parameters. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. And you take it from there, you know, because then I have a better sense going in what's going to work, what's not with their crowd ahead of time. And then when their crowd's going to tell me everything else.
Music's a big world.
Yeah.
It's a giant open world, and you are absolutely more likely to land on something they don't like than land on something they do like. And that's kind of the difference. And something that honestly, like completely ignorant, like for the longest time, is to just like, I probably had the same belief as to what a DJ did. You know, it's like any person walking down the street, just like, oh, you know, you're just playing music, it's a playlist, it's whatever, it's just what it is.
People look down on them.
Oh yeah, for sure. But then like once you actually get into it, it's like, oh, there's a psychological aspect to this. Yeah. And
people who are good at it, it's undeniable. They're like, oh, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, and you can tell.
Yeah.
So it's
a different dance floor they're on, a different party.
Yeah, entirely different dance floor.
Yeah.
Way different. But yeah, it definitely is one of those things that not only gained a huge respect that I didn't have before, but just in a completely different understanding of what it is.
Yeah, when you get on the inside of it. And it definitely how people treat you. It's
Yeah.
eye-opening. It's some of the stuff we experience. I'm like, phew, somebody just threatened to kill me because I didn't play their song. Like, what?
Yeah. Like
I'm just at work doing my job.
And it's also weird because I don't respond to people
Sure.
like a DJ. I will respond to them like a comic.
Yes. Yeah. You got to be careful. That's get you in trouble.
Yeah, for sure. But like ideally, I've family members that joke with me. They're like, man, you could tell somebody to go to hell and they'll shake your hand afterward.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just like, I'm ribbing you. Ribbing you, but I mean it.
I'm joking.
I'm joking. I mean every word that I said. Like, oh, you go to hell, you bastard.
I'm joking. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean it. I mean it, though.
Have you had any wild stories or wild memories from either your time, at the market or just at other weddings?
So like at the market, comedy club wise, it was pretty soon after COVID, and we had an open mic, and there was a science teacher on stage that was trying to do some mask jokes, and there was a gentleman that was off stage that did not want to hear about masks, and he made it very political and threatened to go on stage and beat up the man in the wheelchair telling jokes, and I had to kick him out, obviously. And I walked up to him, I was like, hey man, like, nah, just get out of here. And I stopped, and he said, you take one more step, see what happens. And I said, okay. And I took one step. And at that point, he took one step towards me, and 15 comics stood up. And I was like, you're a little outnumbered here, bud. He's like, oh, I see how it is. Big man needs the comics, right? I said, no, I don't. Come on, let's go outside right now. And for the record, I was not ready to fight this person. He was very obviously on meth. But I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's see what happens here. Let's call this guy's bluff, because I know that, again, there's 17 people that just whatever. He's like, no, it's fine. I see how it is. I was like, you sure? I'll step outside with you. Are you sure? Are you sure? It's like, no, it's fine. I'll just leave. And that guy came back the next week and acted like none of that ever happened.
It might not have if he was on meth. He might not remember.
Yeah, I assumed,
different person.
Yeah, I assumed he was on meth just by the way he was acting. Just like,
it's my evil meth twin.
Tipped like 40%. Was wonderful to the staff. I was like, what are you doing, man?
Super kind.
It was crazy. So that was weird.
Tell all the mask jokes you want.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Please. He was wearing 3 masks that night. I don't know what happened. Just completely changed his demeanor. Wedding wise, man, okay. So was bartending a wedding once, and it was actually in the lounge, so in that smaller room.
Yeah.
And Indiana, every state's different. In Michigan, I found you don't need off-duty police security.
Oh,
which was I did not know that. So you don't need off-duty police security in Michigan. You do need, I believe, 1 per 100 guests in Indiana. And so for this particular one, there's a really cool guy. I'll just say his first name's Ben. He's a cool guy, Valpo Police Department, and he worked a lot of weddings with me. And I will gladly, as I've said it on stage, I'll say it in person. I'll say I am not the biggest fan of law enforcement, but man, these guys that I worked with at Mark, they were just like the nicest, coolest, like laid back guys. Even to the point to where, like, there was one time that I got in a little trouble with marijuana, and I called one of them who happened to be a sergeant, and I was like, hey, what's going to happen to me? Help me. Please, God, help me. Am I going to die? Am I going to drop this? What's going to happen?
Oh, my goodness.
And he's like, everything's going to be fine. All right.
Which gang do I join?
Yeah, do I have to shave my head? He's like, everything's going to be fine. They just took your stuff. They don't want to fill out the paperwork. Just relax. But, like, no, I'm at this wedding, and, I'm sitting there. Ben and I are chatting, having a good time, and, we smelled it. We smelled it.
Yeah.
You know what it smells like.
Yeah.
Everybody knows what it smells like. And I just joked with him. I'm like, they're outside having a good time. He's like, so long as they're not throwing it in my face, it's fine. 30 seconds later,
they're throwing it in his face.
one of the groomsmen above the dance floor just holds up a full bag of it. Like, it had to be an ounce.
No.
And he was like, hey, Jaime, let's do this.
No.
And the cop is standing there. I'm the dude and you're the cop. And he's like, hey, wait, let's go do it, baby. I got it all night. And he's like, dude, come on, man. Like, I didn't want to do that. I can't. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So, like, he had to do it.
Making me do my job. I don't want to.
Which, like, what? Come on. He understands that, you smell it. We all knew it was there, but it's weed. He's not going to do anything. But this guy's just,
Yeah, right in his face.
Wild. So, yeah, that guy.
That is so wild.
Yeah, he wasn't able to finish the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's couldn't be cool.
Mm-mm.
Couldn't just be chill and secretive and
just be cool, right? Just be cool.
Just be cool.
Nobody cares.
Hey, Jaime.
Jaime, check it out. Come on, let's go.
No.
Like, no, Jaime, stay over there, buddy. Trust me.
Jaime, don't walk anywhere near him.
Don't change your name.
I don't know that guy.
I've never met. I don't know who this person is. How did you find my name?
It's a wedding crasher.
Yeah, that's exactly what that was. Yeah.
Dude, I had some crashers a couple weeks ago, and I love calling crashers out when they crash.
Okay.
And I was like, you guys, because they come up request songs.
Yeah.
And because they're drunk, they usually sneak in drunk, And you could tell because they're not dressed, and you've been there all night, and you see it on there. And they're like, oh, yeah, the bride wants this song. I was like, well, that's funny, because the bride said she didn't want that song. And I show up, I'm like, you're a crasher, you know. And they're like, oh, you know, they freaked out. And they were laughing about it too. And she was like, she said we could come in. And I was like, we'll see.
We'll see. Stop the dance floor. Excuse me, will the bride come to the booth real quick?
Crashers.
Yeah, you just set off an alarm.
Seize dancers, seize them. You know, I try to.
The conga line actually picks them up and
that's
takes
right.
them outside. Yeah,
That's right.
That's the point
Deliver
of the conga
them,
line.
deliver them to jail.
That's how it
conga line
happens.
into the jail cell. So
Yeah, they get people in prison in New Orleans. It's just a conga line that leads them directly there.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
That's great.
So, but yeah, I think we got it for this one.
Oh yeah, this was fun.
Yes, this has been the DJ Insider Podcast. I'm Mike from Amplified Events.
I'm Jeff Webb. It has been a blast to be here.
If they are interested in booking a comedian, what's the best way to reach out for that?
Yes, please reach out. You can either visit the Facebook page, that is Forgettable Productions, or you could email jeff@forgettableproductions.com. Got tons of fantastic, hilarious comics from all over the Midwest.
Yeah, we got a show this Friday, actually.
Got a
Excited.
really fun show that you and I are involved in a private show this Friday. It's another one of those cool World Collide things. We got Kyle Fields coming up from Springfield.
Yes.
World Series of Comedy participant. Very funny guy. He's open up for all sorts of people. I think you and I are going to have a really fun time this Friday.
I'm very excited. It's going to be great. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you at your wedding.